Hello, everybody. This video is going over how we helped a marketing agency book 28 calls and close 4 new deals in the first 41 days of them working with us. If you're new here, my name is Ryan Bryden. I run an outbound agency called Breakout Creatives. We're helping B2B companies grow their sales pipeline by 2 to 5x in the first 90 days of working with them. So if you want this document to read through to check out the campaign strategy that we used for David and his company, this will be in the description of the YouTube video for you to download, check out, totally free, of course. So go and check it out there if you're interested. So getting into this company. So this is David Classer. He's the founder of Exploding Leads, absolute beast. Exploding Leads, they are a sales pipeline growth company as well, a bit different than us. They focus a little more on the retention side of things. So I met David a while ago on LinkedIn, I think it was. We kind of went back and forth there for a bit. Having tons of experience in outbound sales and pipeline growth himself. Him and his team are amazing, but cold email was the one channel that they just didn't really have much success with cracking. So he came to me and asked for some help. We started working together. This document is going to be going over the exact strategy that we used for him and his team to book 28 intro calls and close 4 deals in the first month of campaigns being live. Let's get right into this strategy. So whenever we are beginning to work with a new company, one of the first things that I like to take a look at from kind of a high level view is what are any super glaring, super obvious, USPs, which means unique selling propositions, or edges that we can have over our competition so that we're not just another random cold email in the inbox, right? So I mentioned these USPs. This can be stuff that is location based. Maybe the founder has a really strong network. Maybe they're really active or they have a lot of followers on a social media platform. Prestigious awards the company has won, experience in an industry, ability to just do free work, like whatever it is, anything that can give you a strategic edge in the campaigns that you're creating can contribute toward this, right? And so when I was just meeting with David and we were talking, one of the things he proposed to us was the idea of starting our campaigns local in his home of Kansas City. So when it comes to campaign strategy for outbound, one of the most valuable things that you can do is find an in with a list, right? So this could be, in the example that we use, a location-based thing where we're only getting in touch with Kansas City business owners and things like that. It can be, companies that, follow the same person on LinkedIn, that use a certain software, so that you can reach out to somebody and you can say, hey, I saw that you're using HubSpot. Insert my product or service and how I can help, blah, 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 right? So in our situation, this in that we had was getting in touch with those in the same city as we were based in. It's just a small little thing, right? Because what this instantly does is it gives the prospect a better reason to care a little bit more about what you're saying, because now instead of just being another growth company sending me a cold email about, how they can convert more of their pipeline, we are now another growth company, but we're located just a few blocks down from the office in the same city talking about these services. Now, what we did in terms of the actual campaign building is, so I made a post on LinkedIn about this, and I'm going to pull it up here. I hope my camera comes over okay. Perfect. So what we actually did is, so when we were coming up with this idea, I wanted to do something that would let anybody reading it know, like, 100% that we are actually located in Kansas City. And so what I did is, and one thing too, we also wanted to leverage the idea of in-person meetings. I mean, that's huge, right? If I could say, hey, if you want to meet up at the coffee shop down the street, that's so much better than just a Zoom call. But what we did to really make this copy truly stand out is we went into ChatGPT and I asked it about specific landmarks or parks and other places that only Kansas City residents would know about if we mentioned them. So here's what I have in here. It's talking about, museums and this Museum of Art and Union Station, and all this stuff. And so we used a few of those in our campaign, again, with the main focus being I just wanted this to come across super one-to-one, so anti cold email or spammy sales message. And I was really trying to connect with people like that. And so in the first few days of campaign launch, we had 5 interested leads already. It was just over 700 emails sent. I'll get into a few more of the metrics now. And you'll hear a lot of things in this space of it doesn't even matter, it's just about the offer. right? Like, why would somebody being located in the same city even matter? People don't care about that. And I thought that at first too, but I think what you're about to see here would defend against that. So these are real replies that we got from a few people. I probably shouldn't show the names, but because you're polite and local, my interest is piqued. David, I had you in the inbox to follow up. Blah, blah, blah. I typically dismiss these solicitations, but since you are KC based, felt like I owed you a response. That's literally exactly what we are going for. Hey, David, blah, blah, blah. Always nice to connect with another KC local. I love this is a, I guess, famous coffee shop in the city. I mentioned in the message that turned into a meeting. Hey, David, love connections in KC. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to grow in the KC market. Would love to have you as a connection. Da, da, da. I'd still love to connect if you're open to it. Since you're from KC, like it's honestly crazy how much people resonated with this Kansas City angle. And I mean, I think it has to do with a lot of things. David, because you're local, I'm open to hearing you out, right? David, I would not mind conversing with you, especially since you're in the KC area. I want to do coffee or something. David, I'm always up for meeting with fellow KC folks. Like it was actually pretty crazy the responses that we got from this, and just to see our campaign idea kind of pan out. But I think like for you and whatever kind of company that you're running, I think it's important just to think about what can you do in your campaign that can get you, and I say this with kind of air quotes, but in, right? Like what in do you have with this audience, and how can you make that same connection so that you can get responses like that? So on the first day that we had campaigns launched, as I was kind of saying, we already had interested replies coming in. 2 days later, we had our first booking. So it honestly worked right from the start, which is always nice from our end. I mean, that's not always the case, but things were going very, very well. Meetings were strong as well. Here's a bit of feedback from David on the meeting itself. And then within 14 days of just the campaign being live, David had actually already closed his first client from the calls we were booking. Here's his note here. New client alert from a booking that you guys gave, which is awesome. So love to hear that. And then he closed somebody else 2 days later. So within the first 15 days of this campaign being live, David had already closed 2 clients on monthly recurring deals, had a pipeline of 15 plus high quality meetings to follow up with over Christmas break, which is when this was. Found a completely new marketing angle to use in different channels and campaigns that he runs to other local KC companies, and achieved about a 5x ROI on our services before the end of the first month working together. So, I mean, that's pretty much about as good of a start as we can have. Again, that isn't always the case, but that's what can happen when you have an idea, we execute it well, and it just comes together like that. So at the time of writing this, our focus was to double down and expand on the KC angle. Like when you have a campaign like this, where you obviously have that message market fit, it's working, like you want to squeeze all the juice out of that you possibly can. So our focus recently has been, looking to other databases and other ways that we can source data that still fits this kind of market. Taking feedback from these new customers that he's signing to develop more campaign theses. So like when you're running outbound and you have a client and they're like signing new clients, the easiest thing that you can do is just talk to them and be like, hey, what about our message stood out to you? Why did you, want to speak to me in the first place? And so by asking them that, you can get a lot of feedback and data on what exactly about your message stood out to them and why they were interested. And then bring that back into campaigns and use that further. And then 3 was just try to scale volume and the size of campaigns. So going forward, like we're not as focused on it right like now in the current moment, but like I think expanding the amount of accounts that you're sending from for an offer like this, David has a pretty large market, so it wouldn't be too hard for us to spin up a lot of new inboxes. But the idea is that you can start smaller, see that it's working, expand more, buy more domains, buy more inboxes, and grow volume that way. If you're interested in learning more about David and his offer at Exploding Leads, he's an absolute beast. I have his links right here in the in this part of the document. And about us, If you are looking for similar results as David, you want us to come into your business to refine your offer, cold traffic, help you determine and use your USP and find that competitive edge in campaigns, write all the copy, scrape all the lists, manage the entire campaign, cover the cost of the setup, the inbox, the domains, the leads, everything, split test different angles to find message market fit, and handle the A to Z process, booking prospects in for intro calls for you and your sales team, you can talk to us here. I have my calendar below, and here as well is a few of the videos of ours going over same kind of stuff on how we help grow B2B sales pipelines. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You're the best. We'll talk soon. Peace.